The dream life. Everyone wants it, not everyone can live it. Well, I'm currently living mine out here in Vietnam. The reason why, because it got me thinking, the dream life, or the life I have right now, is not in the sense of I have everything I ever wanted, but the things I ever wanted to have, I can see myself getting here and at least plan my future ahead here. And making the comparison back home in the States where I'm originally from, there was that sense of pessimism, that sense of, is it possible to achieve the things I want here? And is it me able to live properly how I want to live back home? So that's how I define my dream life. Not to have all the riches, wonders in the world, but rather if there's a future. If the future is bright and if I could achieve it. So, and that's the things that got me thinking, I think that it's possible here out in Vietnam. Firstly, and most importantly, is the fact that the things I want to achieve here, the freedom, it all comes down to the fact that retirement, the affordability, the normal things that I would be paying for higher price back home, it's just a more simple commodity out here. And because of that, I see a future in terms of that horizon, in that area. Oh man, yeah. You know, the thing about these bumpy streets is that you'll hear like a vibration in my voice. But yes, the pricing, the cost, that gives me a more sense of, okay, the dream life. For example, if I have ambitious goals of, reaching a certain financial point or business points, I can have a higher chance of making those goals, those achievements, because I'm reducing and eliminating the risk factor much more significantly compared to if I was back home in the States. And because of that, it just makes it more, the future is brighter, and it's nice to do it in a way where something's always a little bit more unpredictable in terms of where I'm going to go, what I'm going to do out here. So that's a factor in terms of how I see it as my dream life. Another factor is every single day there's always different opportunities, coming from where I came from in Atlanta. But another part was the fact that a little bit of the suburbs. In the suburbs, that's where, my parents would stay at. And, I would, come visit and live for a period of time. But yeah, that's suburbs. I was thinking to myself, man, my life back then was just a simple, all right, either go to work part-time or go to the gym and then go to that destination, stay there for a couple hours or, the half the day, the full day. And then it would just be middle of the stop, let's get some food, let's get some gas, and then right back home. And that would be on a continuous repeat. Suburb, work, half the day, small, simple, quick location, then back home. And I would do that on repeat, 5 days a week, sometimes 6, 7 days a week. Even if I was on my off day, the suburb location, it's just not conducive for everybody, and it wasn't for me. I like a sense of adventure. I like a sense of, there's things to do, there's network opportunities, there's business opportunities, there's just meeting cool, different, dynamic people. And when you're in a situation where, you're in a small town, small city like that, everybody knows everybody. And so, there's really nothing new. In fact, like the smallest news in like a small town is like massive. Like, oh, did you hear about, this happened in, this county, even though it could be something simple as like, like a car crash. Obviously car crashes are big, significant, but stuff like that is just like rambles throughout the town, or you hear about this person in the neighborhood, like, oh, did you hear this? This happened to them. That's like the highlight of the day or the week for, small town folk. But, in big cities life, there's always something engaging. There's always something new you can do. Obviously, you have to put yourself out there, but that's how I didn't see my, I guess, quote unquote, dream life or future life. Do I really want to be chilling in a small town, live in a small town? Everybody knows everybody. In terms of opportunities, it's only limited to who you know there. While if you live out in the city, the possibilities are endless. It's just based off who you know, who you can speak to, and what you can achieve through your own effort, and by making and taking advantage of those opportunities. But some people like the small town life. It's quiet, simple, here and there. There's stuff like that here out in Vietnam, but yeah, city life here, it's much more enjoyable from what I like. And also at the same time, I'm a huge walking person. Now in Atlanta, obviously you can walk, and there are some nice places to walk, but I've noticed it's like on repeat where you're gonna go. Like, yeah, you can go to, how often can you go to the Coca-Cola factory or, the Georgia Aquarium? How many times can you walk past that place or the Olympic Park before you get, okay, I got it. That's the park. That's the aquarium. That's the Waffle House. Yeah, there's only so many times, right? But here, if you wanted to walk, you could walk to another, district. Obviously, prefer grab bike. But even then, location-wise, you're gonna be walking to new different areas. There's like these little small points like, oh crap, I didn't even know this place existed. Or this like little cool coffee shop, or this little cool bar around. And because of that, you're like, oh, it's like a little bit of a sense of adventure. And that's the thing I enjoy most about, comparing the two places back, is that, there's always these little things you'll have to go out and explore to see. But if you're living back home in a small town, yeah, there might be a cool forest, I guess, something like that. Yeah, real quick, something. And another factor, I would say this is also my dream life, is that the people you get to meet are not the same type of people you would meet back home, in terms of internationally, where they want to go, what they want to do. I think I mentioned this in other videos before, but depending where you live, but here in a more Western area, like Taoyuan, or even District 1, where it's English friendly, you're gonna meet a lot of different foreigners, expats, just like yourself. But the ones I felt back home, it was just normal. They were just, living the normal route in life. I guess 9 to 5, grow up, go to school, university, college, get a job, then drink on the weekends, just talk about stuff. And because of that, you're gonna get, similar conversations. Maybe it's about the news, maybe it's about the media, maybe it's about, day-to-day activities. But I've noticed here that the people I'm meeting, it expands my mind much more in terms of, our conversational threads. For example, the people I meet here in Taoyuan, they're trying to do something. They're trying to achieve stuff. Or could be retired, but you'll hear like stories about them being retired, Because why else would they, come here, move out of here, leave America? They're trying to do stuff. And it's like this little expat bubble. It's like maybe like an Italian guy. Actually, I just met 2 Italians in an Italian restaurant here. Makes sense. But yeah, they were just telling me their story. They've been living in Vietnam for like 25 plus years. And they're trying to do like a small business here as well on the side of it. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. They tell me the stories about Vietnamese. In fact, I made a joke, they're actually more Vietnamese than I am. I think literally, even though they were Italian, but it was the amount of length, they 25x'd my lifetime here in Vietnam. But, here, meeting that type of people, it'd be harder to meet in, back in America, or at least in Georgia. Because Atlanta, you'll just say, they work in the CNN building for sometimes. I've been a security officer for like 15, 20 years, police officer, and yeah, you know, that's cool. But yeah, here I feel a sense of like liveliness, a sense of you know, ambitiousness that people have that are trying to achieve stuff here, or because why else would they move here, you know, or live a different lifestyle here, which is cool as well. So, based off those factors, it really made me think if I want to build something here, do something here, this would be the dream life area. And it would make much more sense for me to try to achieve those things here. And yeah, give it a shot and give it a go. Yeah, it was a little bit scary at first. You know, maybe it wasn't for me. Maybe, you know, the lifestyle, the people I wouldn't fit in. It would be hard to navigate. Or big one being is it possible? Can I actually move? Can I actually, you know, do a difference in terms of how I'm living life? And, you know, I made the move. It wasn't easy, but at the same time, sometimes I feel like you just got to give it a go, or else you'll never know what happens. So, there's a banh mi shop. But yeah, this is just a quick video I just wanted to make. Even though, you know, the weather doesn't look as good, but the vibe and the windiness is nice. So I'll just end it off from here, and hopefully I'll see you on the other side of the world.